You're right guys, as you can see, I've had a bit of a problem recently. I've been working with MDF and I've had to cut down full sheets. Now as you'll know, my workshop is nowhere near big enough to cut down full sheets of MDF. So I came up with a solution of cutting them outside. I haven't got a big table that I can just set up outside to cut full 8x4 sheets. So I'm going to be making a frame, but I'm going to be using treated timber. Reason for using treated timber is so it can be actually stored outside as well. I won't have to worry about it being left out in all the elements then, and I'll keep it down the back of my shed so it's out of the sight, out of mind kind of thing. And then whenever I need to cut down big sheet goods, I can get it out and cut away. So I really hope you find this video useful. As a sheet of plywood is more commonly 8 foot by 4 foot, I wanted the frame to be slightly smaller than that. It'll be easier to store and make it easier to add clamps too. So I went for 6 foot by 3 foot. Using treated 4x2s, I cut 2 pieces to 180 centimeters and 4 pieces to 90 centimeters. Then I very simply used 2 screws to join the pieces together. By only using screws, I can easily replace the pieces that get cut up and damaged with time. Also, it doesn't need to be very strong, it just needs to be held together. The reason for using 4x2s was so I could leave a decent gap at the top free from screws. This way the saw blade can pass through with no chance of hitting them. With the frame done, I cut some 6mm MDF to make a track for my circular saw. You want the base piece to be large enough to accommodate the fence and the width of your saw base plate plus some. For example, my saw base plate measures roughly 10 centimeters to the blade, so I added 1 centimeter, which makes 11 centimeters total width. I used the same measurement for the fence too, so I would need a base piece cut to 22 centimeters and a fence cut to 11 centimeters. With the pieces cut, I can glue them together. Try to get the fence lined up even with the base piece. Getting it lined up straight isn't critical, but you don't want it to be too far from straight as the saw needs to cut off the excess. With the glue dry, it's time to cut it to size. I clamped it down so it wouldn't move around, then used my circular saw to cut it to the exact size. I made sure to keep the saw pressed tight up against the fence, that way I could create a perfect guide rail for my saw. Now it's time to put them to use. I set the frame on the floor and put my sheet of plywood on top. With the blade of the circular saw set just below the thickness of the MDF, I made my cut. To set up the guide rail, I measure 3 separate points, then lay the guide rail in place and make sure all 3 points line up. Then I add a couple of clamps and make my cut. It works really well. So that's it then guys, clearly a very basic idea, but I do hope that it helps some of you out there. Especially in the UK, we've got very limited space, but if you even did have the space in your workshop, I think handling big sheets, especially 8x4 sheets, is very hard to do on your own, so being able to just lay it down flat on the floor like that and cut away, it's got to be a lot easier, for me anyway. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you want to leave a comment, if you've got any other ideas for dealing with big sheet goods, leave it down below. I'll reply to everybody, and it really starts a good conversation going on down there. Please share it around with your friends as well, maybe they'll find it useful too. And while you're at it, please click the subscribe button and get notifications as well by clicking the bell icon. That way you'll get a notification whenever I upload a new video. At the end of this, I'll put up some links on the screen for you to check out. There might be something that you enjoy there too. So thank you all again for watching.